Hey, it's milestone celebration week here at the Frat House. Oh, yeah. 26 consecutive weeks. 26 consecutive weeks that we've been coming at you. And that means that's a complete half year. And that makes us, make no mistake, we are the most consistent. Hey, and with 500 weekly hits just in February, we are the fastest growing internet-based sports talk program. All right? Congrats, dude. Hey, we're going on to 52. All right?
Here we go.
All right. Hey, we're going to jump right over to NASCAR. We're going to jump right over to the Daytona 500. That's been top story here at the Frat House all week long. It seemed like we waited forever for the first week to get going. All right. And I even commented at one point on our Facebook page, I said, it seems like, this race just is not destined to even to get going. We sat around here on Friday here at the Frat House. We sat around here on Friday for 4 hours. It got postponed. We watched raindrops fall in Daytona until like 5 o'clock. They postponed it. It's going to start at noon on Monday. No. It's going to start at 7. Okay, it finally gets going at 7. And for those of us that had the intestinal fortitude to hang in there, well, you might have seen the end at like what, 1:15? Yeah, wasn't me.
1:30 in the morning.
Wasn't me. I never got a chance to see it. I'm going to tell you right now. And we were all, a lot of us were sitting around saying, hey, something, this is a good thing. It's a prime time race. It's going on a weeknight. All kind of went up in smoke, literally. All right, but nonetheless, in the end, on Tuesday morning, 10 cautions and nearly 6 hours later, Matt Kenseth gets the checkered flag.
An excellent try.
Yes, he was, and I think it's important that we take note that he was followed by Dale Earnhardt. Yep. Came in second. Biffle came in third. Yep. Denny Hamlin, Jeff Burton, 3, 4, and 5. And we know from last year that taking a look at those top 5 races, that's important. Carl Edwards, he only won, I think, how many races last year? 1, maybe? I think he only won maybe 1. Most important, though, because those get those points. So, yes. The win, place, and show stuff is important. The one thing I got to tell you, Sidekick, I was impressed with what NASCAR did with these big tracks like this here in Daytona and what they did in trying to eliminate and limit the 2-car tandem drafting, all right? We saw, for a couple of years now, that's what we've been looking at there at Daytona and in Talladega. And they put some modifications into place that really limited a lot of that. And we saw that in place with the Bud Shootout. We saw that in place with Nationwide the day before. But I got to ask a question. Suddenly they're eliminating that, and what happens? We go back to the pack racing. Mm-hmm. You get a big wide track like Daytona. It's 3 wide. Mm-hmm. And I'm just wondering, is that a recipe for demolition derby? We saw a lot of that. Within the first lap of Daytona, we're seeing a wreck that takes Danica Patrick out.
Right.
Is that a good thing?
Jimmie Johnson.
From fan standpoint, we like it, but is it really a good thing?
No, I think it's a good thing. And just for comparison, this year, we brought back pack racing.
Right.
Did away with the tandems, 10 cautions. Last year's Daytona with 2-car tandem racing, we had 16 cautions. That was a track record.
Wow.
So I think this is good.
It's fun for the fans, but not too good for the pocketbook of those teams. With all those wrecked cars out there.
Right.
Pack racing, however, had nothing to do with what the highlight, I think, was of the entire race on Monday evening, and that was Juan Pablo Montoya running down there with I think it was lap 160. There were like 40 laps left, and he slams right back into the rear end of a jet dryer. Now, these jet dryers hold 200 gallons of jet fuel, and in a very short period of time, completely igniting the entire track on fire. It set the entire race into another 2-hour delay, which is why this whole thing didn't end until sometime after 1 o'clock in the morning. So it was just absolutely incredible state of affairs that went on right from the beginning on Sunday right through to the end on Tuesday morning. I couldn't believe it. The Montoya thing. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, you know,
jackwagon.
it's official now. You know, Montoya's hit everything on the track now. I mean, you know, he took out the jet dryer. You know, the other funny thing about it was, did you see the product placement?
Oh yeah,
all
the Tide thing. The Tide
all
thing.
the guys out there with the little boxes of Tide out there.
We were talking about that here, waiting for the next that to work its way into a commercial or two. Yeah, absolutely.
You know, it was. I mean, 54 years. No one has ever hit one of those jet dryers.
Wow, what an amazing sight! As you can see, we've got some footage running behind us. But you know, just when you think you're done with Daytona, then come down the reports from yesterday about what happened with the number 48 car there with Jimmie Johnson. You know, point reductions. They had point reductions. They had a $100,000 fine, and you've got the crew chief getting suspended for the next six races,
and the car chief, both.
You know, and there was an article that I want to quote from here. NASCAR had determined that the 48 car, the number 48 car, which is Jimmie Johnson's, had violated several regulations prohibiting modifications to the car. In this case, the problem was with the seat posts. And now those are the columns that come down from the roof of the car to the rear quarter panel. The question, and this is according to the article, the question, of course, is whether this penalty is actually for these seat posts, or is this a sanctioning body's equivalent of a makeup call tagging Chad Knaus for all those times that he may or may not have pushed the envelope in the past.
Right.
What's your thinking on that one?
Well, for those of fans out there that don't follow NASCAR that much, you know, last year Tony Stewart won. The 5 previous times Jimmie Johnson's won the championship. This team has proven that they're willing to skirt the rules to try and win championships. That's what they do. They've been caught numerous times doing this. I don't believe it's a makeup, but I believe the severity of the punishment is due to the number of times that this has occurred over the past, you know, 5 or 6 years.
Yeah, so you're answering my question, which was, and my question was, this seemed a little stiff to me. I don't know. But
no, the last time Knaus got caught, he got a 4-race suspension.
Yeah.
So they just keep ramping it up. I think so. You know.
Well, at this point right now, apparently they're appealing it. So, in fact, the entire crew will be there at Phoenix this coming Sunday. And I certainly hope that we get a full race in on time on Sunday. And, you know, we're not looking at actually a Tuesday situation. But
Jimmie Johnson now in the standings is at a negative 23 points. He's
it's going to be a big
He's almost a full 2 races behind Matt Kenseth at this point. He's going to be lucky to try and salvage a wild card.
Yeah, it's a big. They're already saying that at this point. That wow, to get into the chase, and then we're talking that's way down the line. Alrighty, all right. Let's go over and take a look at baseball. I mean, it is March 1st, and you know, hey, I can almost smell the grass. But we got all the teams in their training camps. We got some exhibition games going on, and all we're doing basically is just counting down to the season opener, which is 34 days, amazingly. And so you would think it's a pretty ho-hum sort of time of the year for baseball. Hey, nothing really to talk about. Hey, let's go over to the Milwaukee Brewers camp, huh? Where the whole story has come out this week. It blew up, I think, like last Thursday with the whole situation with left fielder Ryan Braun. Ryan Braun was the NL MVP for last year, and then apparently, I guess it was like in the offseason, he got nailed for a 50-game suspension for using PEDs.
Looks like I picked the wrong week to put amphetamines.
I would think so. All right. But by last Friday, you know, and when it first came down last Thursday, I put a comment up on our Facebook page. I said, yeah, you know something, I'm a big fan of Ryan Braun, and I am. I like the guy, but I smell a rat. I don't like the way this is looking. 50-game suspension overturned. What's the deal? By Friday, we learned, in fact, what it was a situation where, in fact, he got off because some procedural protocols weren't followed exactly to the limit from the guy who collected his sample. All right? So, in fact, in other words, what we're looking at is this. We're looking at, well, not necessarily an innocent Ryan Braun, but a guy that just kind of got off. We've seen this time after time after time in the judicial system.
Yep.
So, you know, nonetheless, hey, Braun gets off, Ryan gets off, and what does he do? He rocks ahead with a well-drafted statement just the other day, where he further questions the integrity of the collector. I got to tell you something. The whole thing, I mean, the collector. A poor guy by the name of Dino Laurenzi. He's the collector in question here. He comes up with his own statement yesterday. 3 pages, well drafted, goes into all the details. The whole thing, to me, Sidekick just stinks. It just stinks. And frankly, I've been saying from almost the beginning of this, Ryan Braun, just shut your mouth.
Right. No, I agree with you. You got off on a technicality, a loophole, okay? Yes, you've exposed problems with the process. Leave your argument to the process. I don't think you need to, pardon the pun, flex your brawn to a collector. He's just part of the system. You need to highlight the system as a whole and say there's issues in the process.
He's not done himself any favors, and frankly, I think if anything, when he released the statement, if he thought what he was trying to do was get the fan base back, in fact, I think what he's done is the complete opposite. Now we're all sitting back on, oh, come on, the guy's guilty as hell. I mean, that's the bottom line. All right, that's the baseball stuff. I'm sure it'll get even more interesting as we go through. Let's go over and take a look at the NHL leaderboard. We got some changes going on over there.
Yes, we do.
All right. Right now at the top of the leaderboard. Hey, are you ready? The Vancouver Canucks. 88 points. Yep. All right. Ain't no Detroit Red Wings in this mix right now. No, your St. Louis Blues have taken over the Central Division.
Yep. And Rangers will be taking over when we meet the Canucks tonight.
Okay. Well, I'd like to see that game, actually. The Rangers are still sitting there at the number 3 spot at 86. Boston Bruins at 77. Phoenix Coyotes took over for the San Jose team over there in the Pacific Division. That's the first time that's happened in a couple of weeks. And the Florida Panthers there are at 72. We're going to go take a look at the Southeast Division. We have finally made our way east. We are in the Eastern Conference now, Sidekick. Yep. And we're going to take a look at that. And we're going to look at the Carolina Hurricanes, the Tampa Bay Lightning, Washington Capitals, those Winnipeg Jets, and the Florida Panthers. Now, I described the Central Division last week as the toughest division. I have to describe this division as the tightest division. From top to bottom, I'm telling you right now, you take a look at the points, 72 at the top, 61 at the bottom. That's only a 9-point differential. However, the difference here in this particular division, not one single team from top to bottom is a plus in goals. Every single one of them has had more goals scored against them than has been scored against them. They've had more goals scored against them than they've actually scored. Right. So, talk to us. Tell us all about those Carolina Hurricanes.
The Carolina Hurricanes. Woo! They're 24, 26, and 13. As Mike just said, 61 points. They're 5-1 and 4 over their last 10. They're 0-6 in shutouts.
Yeah.
And they've got their leading scorer, Eric Stahl, who's got 19 goals, 35 assists, and 54 points.
That's right. And we're going to go take a look at that number 4 team. That's the Tampa Bay Lightning. This is a fickle team, Sidekick. You're never quite sure which team is going to show up, but I'll tell you something right now. Not Steven Stamkos. You always know what's showing up there. That guy right now is having one heck of a year. 44 goals, 32 assists. The guy's got 76 points. You got to throw Martin St. Louis in there. All right. This is an interesting team, good team. They might find their way into the playoffs. Not sure. You're going to talk to me, though, about my favorite old time team, and that's those Winnipeg Jets. They're the old Atlanta Thrashers. Thank God we resurrected the Jets. Go ahead, go for it.
Yeah, the Winnipeg Jets, 30, 27, and 8, 68 points. Their leading scorer is Blake Wheeler, a normal-sounding name. 13 goals, 38 assists, 51 points.
Not so interesting or common names necessarily, though, on those Washington Capitals. They find themselves in the second place of the Southeast Division. Suddenly, they're getting hot, and this is stereotypically, this is when Washington does get hot. Hey, everybody's favorite, Alex Ovechkin. Oh, isn't he everybody's favorite? Leads the team in goals and points, 26 goals and 23 assists. Tomas Vokoun, you can't discount him. 2.52 GAA. Watch that Washington Capitals team. They're always coming around. And finally, our division leader. I got a little bit to say about these Florida Panthers. I'll tell you right now. Quite honestly, I've been waiting for them to just drop out of the first place spot. They're still there right now. I've been looking for them to go on a skid. 3, 4, 5, 6 games in a row. It's going to happen. Folks, trust me on this one. All right? I frankly am not high on this team. I'm telling you right now, the Panthers will not be there at the end. Trust me. Sorry, Panther fans, but I'm just telling you the truth. All right? You can't take anything away from Versteeg. Versteeg and Fleischman, okay, and Stephen Weiss and those kinds of guys. Wonderful year over there. But I'm telling you right now, this team is not a division leading team. They're not a division winning team, and they're not a Stanley Cup team. They might make the playoffs. They ain't getting out.
Game over, man.
They're not
Game
getting out.
over.
All right, that's our Southeast Division look. We'll take a look at the gritty Northeast next week. You got Boston Bruins in there, Montreal Canadiens, people like that.
Oh, yeah.
All right, we've worked our way into week 4 of the villains, and we're taking a look at the villains in hockey. We had some good... My God, my Facebook page was burning up tonight. All the people jumping in on there. Oh, Matthew Barnaby, he's the biggest villain. How about Todd Domi? How about Claude Lemieux? These are the people that... I mean, just minutes before we went on the air, I'm having to respond to fans. Thank you, I appreciate it. Keep doing it every week. Your villain sidekick in hockey? Who would be?
The Red Wings. Yeah, they're in the division with the Blues, and it seems like every year they're the team to beat. So I hate those.
Yeah. All right. Well, I got to tell you, and you know this, I've been a hockey fan for 38 years. 38 years, and this was a tough call for me. Because I had to look back over my lifetime. And one of my Facebook friends out there, Russ, is going to love some of the names I come up with here. I came up with a short list. They included people like, hey, how about Dale Hunter, Dan Maloney, and Tiger Williams? All right, both of them, they were played for the Maple Leafs. Bob Gassoff are your guys over there in the Blues back in the 70s. Matthew Barnaby, oh yeah, he was a name that was brought up, but I got to tell you something right now. My villain has got to go to Scott Stevens. And yes, no, it's not because he had that final hit on Eric Lindros. All right, it wasn't because of that. Yes, that was bad. But hey, Eric had it coming. He had his head down going through the neutral zone. No, it was because of all the other nasty, just ridiculous, despicable stuff we saw him do, not just to the Flyers, but to every team across the league. Scott Stevens is my villain. There it is. We're going to be taking a look at villains in baseball next week. Go ahead. You got to let us know. Who's your villain in baseball? All right, America's pastime. We're going to send you out with a short video put together by our production director, Jen. 26th celebratory episode here. And she gives you a brief look at the real Mike and Sidekick. So you're going to want to take a look at that. And appropriately, I'm going to remind you right now, please. Hey, keep us real. Keep us going. All right? Keep us live. Keep us going. We'll see you next week.
Okay, here we are with Mike McShane of 5 Minutes at the Frat House. Mike is one of the 2 talent behind 5 Minutes at the Frat House, and here they are reaching their half-year mark. So we're going to sit down and talk with both Mike and Sidekick about what they think of the future of the show, how it's going, and what they think of each other.
Okay.
So Mike, here we are at week 26. Yeah. Did you ever think the show would see this milestone day?
Yeah, it's a tough question. It kind of yes and kind of no. When it first started, it was a whim, and we thought, well, we'll give it a shot, and we'll see how far it goes. And in some respects, it doesn't feel like it's been 26 weeks. Mm-hmm. At the same time, when you look back over all of it, it does. It's a lot of work. There's a lot of work involved in putting it together. But I think we've come a long way with it. It's a lot better than it was, and it gets better every week. And did I think it would get to 26? Like I said, kind of yes and kind of no. But I'm glad we're here, that's for sure. And I'm sure we're going to see 52.
Well, hopefully you will. It does certainly seem to be trending upwards. That's a credit to you guys.
Nah, thank you.
So here we are with Sidekick, the second half of the dynamic duo of 5 Minutes at the Frat House. Now, Sidekick, what do you hope to see for the future of the show?
Well, I think I want to see it go to the next level. I want to see, us incorporate more sports, which we're slowly doing. You know, and make the show better, more involvement in the Facebook page, you know, some more social media involvement. So, but we've all got plans for that, so hopefully by the time we hit the 1 year mark, you know, we'll have an endorsement deal.
That would be nice for them. I'm like, why Sidekick? Out of all the sports fans you know, what made you pick him to do this project with?
I'm not sure. You know, honestly, I just felt that there was a really good rapport between the two of us. I like the fact that Sidekick comes from a different part of the country. That's what I like. And I like the fact that he brings a different perspective to it. On top of which, we find a lot of times that we in a very friendly way, don't agree most of the time. And I think that that's really what makes the whole chemistry of it. But I really like the fact that he comes from a completely different perspective. He doesn't have that Philadelphia background that I have. And so therefore, it makes for a nice balance.
It certainly does, and you can see that on 5 Minutes at the Frat House. Check them out on YouTube. Now, Sidekick, lots of your fans are dying to know and hoping that you can fill us in a little bit. Tell us, is Mike always a sports conscience as he appears off the camera as he is on camera?
Mike is sports 24/7. This guy, I mean, you know, some fans may know that him and I went on a road trip last year where we did some tours and, you know, saw some ball games and stuff like that, and 24/7 sports.
So there you go. He truly is the sports god. Okay, now here we are sitting with Sidekick and Mike on camera, a position they're both very familiar with. So something that all of your fans want to know and have contacted us about to get the answer out of you guys is, why the Frat House? What's with the name?
Well, it's you know, it's where we are. This is it. This is, you know, the whole thing is the Frat House. There's a feeling of camaraderie with the Frat House, and that's what it is. I mean, every weekend there's something going on here. We got football, we got racing, we got baseball and baseball season time. I mean, it's a place everybody comes together. We come together. We have a good time. We scream at each other. We argue over sports.
We drink,
the Frat House.
we cook.
Yep.
Yep. It's the whole experience. It's just one big fraternity.
Yep.
Well, it certainly seems like you guys have a lot of fun. Thank both of you for coming out and telling us about yourselves today.
All right.